was like, who's coming? And she's like, oh, you need to get on board, but you are working for me. Just remember that. You do not work for Greg, you work for me, and you're about to meet my boyfriend. My story of when I was a nanny and time of when I was a nanny in my early 20s, I did have to sign an NDA, but it has since expired because this family was so insane as to why they had me sign an NDA. Okay, so I was, like I said, in my early 20s. I was with my ex-husband. We were living in Arkansas and we wanted to get jobs to be able to get us back to Texas. So this role was in Texas. The nanny job was for me, obviously. And then they also had a horse farm, like a very elite one. And they needed a horse farm manager, I guess that's what you would say. And my ex applied for that. So we both basically came down to Texas and met with the family. I was to be nannying for their 3 sons. So they had a 7-year-old, a 13-year-old, and then a 15-year-old. And then she also had a 19 or 20-year-old daughter, but I wasn't to have anything to do with her. And also, it doesn't really make a difference, but each child had a different father. So the 7-year-old, his dad was with the mom. And then the other kids were her children from other relationships. We did over the phone interviews, and she basically said she needed me to kind of transport the kids back and forth to school. It was getting close to summer, so she needed me to mostly to take care of their 7-year-old. She also wanted me to do some housework, and she wanted me to kind of prepare dinner. It's almost like she needed a nanny / house manager because the kids were older, so they weren't babies or anything. And then she did also mention that she had a monkey that was her 5th child that she needed help with as well. I don't know what I thought about it at the time. Honestly, I was really curious. She explained over the phone that she was our boss. It was her money. So she was very upfront with that. She said that she owned her own business. It was a business that actually redid the interiors of private jets to make them even more luxurious, I guess. And that was also kind of why we had to sign an NDA if we took the job, because she said there was secrets to her business that she didn't want to leak out. So yeah, anyhow, we made plans to travel to Texas to meet in person to see if we would actually get the positions. We went to Texas and we went to their home. Their home was beautiful. It wasn't a mansion, but it was a big brick home right on the water. They had their own dock. They had a boat. It was very clear that they had money. And this was all in a really nice gated community. When we met her, she did in fact have her monkey sitting right there on her shoulder. She was pretty. She was an older woman. Now, again, I was 23 at the time, and I think she was in her early 50s. She had very long blonde hair, and it was slung in a low ponytail, and then the hair was down past her, belt buckle. And with this monkey, I mean, she was just a character. That was for sure. And we talked for a little bit, and she basically hired me on the spot, and my ex as well. And before we knew it, we were basically starting to work for them. And that's when things just got super interesting. So part 2, we'll get into my day-to-day as a nanny for them and how actually insane this woman was. Story time of when I was a nanny, part 2, NDA now expired. The little boy, who was around 7, I'm going to call him Dustin, on the first day said, "You're my 8th nanny in 2 years." At the time that he said that, his older brother, let's call him Bobby, looked at me and I looked at him and I was like, why? Why am I the 8th nanny in 2 years? And he kind of just rolled his eyes and was like, I guess you'll find out. So on the first day, a lot was thrown at me.
And that is when you run. That was your sign there. Kids will tell you the truth. If you want ask, you shouldn't even ask the older kid. You should ask the youngest. Let me know now. What am I getting myself into?
Right, she messy for asking that in general. Why am I the 8th?
I would want to know too. If that's just having a job and everybody's hiring. What's going on? Why are we so low staffed?
Right. You probably, them kids about to tell you why they.
Well, honestly, what scared me though was the whole NDA.
That little boy messy.
I know a lot of people do it to protect themselves, but it's why do you need an NDA? What type of secrets do you have?
I mean, I get NDAs in a way though. If you're in my house, I don't want you telling everybody what you see in my house. NDAs can be more innocent than it looks to famous and celebrity. Just the average day-to-day people with NDAs is probably more just, I don't want people knowing where I live. I don't want people knowing what you see in my house, the layout and all. None of that. You mention any of that online and you're getting sued. That type of NDA I can respect and I can understand. You just gotta watch those NDAs that be I don't know. I ain't never seen no NDA in person, but if any NDA that makes you feel uncomfortable, like it makes you seem like, oh, nah, that don't make sense. That seems like a little bit of an infringement on my rights. Then those are the NDAs or the people you need to stay far away from because those are probably, it's not valid. It's kind of violating your rights, but it's kind of within law because y'all agreeing to invalidate your rights. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful.
So let me know down below because it's giving if anything crazy happens in this house and I need to call 911, I won't be able to tell them what happened because I just signed this NDA. But let me know if I'm wrong. But that's what I'm understanding. That's what I think it is.
Right, but you do gotta wait for it to expire. But sometimes people sign NDAs and they don't even be real NDAs. Y'all be signing just we done made up through ChatGPT or something. I'm like, oh yeah. Those kind of, take it to a lawyer and see if the NDA really like stamped and approved. You know, like sometimes y'all just be signing papers and be thinking they just do this to the fools. They ain't gonna do this to people who actually you ain't even have NDA experience. You just gotta have common sense and contracts experience, I guess. But I don't know. But don't sign nothing you're unsure of. Even if it's just take it to a lawyer and let them read it over. If you're unsure. That's just my advice to that.
The kids did go to school. I did not take them on this day. But during the day, it was basically just me and her. I'm not going to give her name because it's very unique and I just don't want to get her to come back at me. But regardless, she had a big initiative to show me exactly how she wanted me to clean her house. Really, it felt like during the day I was a cleaning lady. She had me do the dusting and the mopping and do the dishes and the laundry. She wanted me up in their room, in their bathroom, cleaning their bathroom, doing her personal laundry, doing her husband, Greg's personal laundry, meaning I was touching his underwear. It was pretty disgusting, but I guess I didn't have any boundaries at the time and I just went for it and did all of their laundry that day and the cleaning and everything of that matter. I did have to deal with the monkey a little bit. She tried to have me change its diaper, but it was such a crazy monkey. So she was like, it's okay, it'll take practice. She then gave me a list of things that she always wanted me to stop at the store for her almost on the daily. This woman smoked Capri cigarettes. If you know what those cigarettes are, they're like the really long, skinny ones. And she was like a habitual smoker. She smoked these things inside too, and in her bedroom. It was kind of disgusting, but to be honest, I didn't really smell it. So I don't know, trying not to judge. But basically she was like, yeah, anytime you're by the store, you can just go ahead and get me a pack of Capris and some Twizzlers. I didn't really see her eat much during the day. She was quite thin, so I'm guessing she mostly just lived on coffee, cigarettes, and Twizzlers. During that first day, I did clock that her husband, Greg, didn't seem to have a job, or at least he was home that day. And it was a Monday. He kept busy. He was kind of exercising on the exercise bike that they had, or I noticed that he'd be outside cleaning their boat. He was in his late 50s, I would guess. He wasn't much to look at, and he really wasn't in that great of shape. I totally did not understand their dynamic yet, but I would as the time went on. He was nice to me. He didn't really take the time to talk, and that was kind of by design of her. She seemed to want to keep a decent separation between Greg and I. Now, when the kids got home, she decided that it would be a good time to have me drive them somewhere just to do a trial run of how my driving was. She had a minivan that would be essentially mine while I worked for her. So we all loaded up in the minivan, and the one little boy thought he was so funny and had the monkey go with us. He swore that this monkey would stay in the backseat with him. BS, because as I'm going down the road, monkey was underneath my feet. I had to pull over. This thing was running all around the minivan and the kids were laughing so hard. So clearly this was something that they've done to previous nannies. I just remember I was freaking out. I made them grab the monkey and I turned around, and then the mom was like, no, you can't take the monkey places. Ha 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 ha. I mean, I literally almost drove us off the road. So yeah, moving forward, we no longer had the monkey drive with us anywhere. The end of that first day ended with me cooking them probably a dinner because I was not claiming to be a cook, but they ate it. And she basically said, we need to gear up because a horse show is coming up and you and my ex at the time, are going to be traveling with us to this horse show. And her eyes were just as big and bright as I'd ever seen. She said, I come alive during the horse shows, which definitely was foreshadowing what actually went down at these horse shows. So stay tuned for part 3. Story time of when I was a nanny, NDA now expired. So we are 1 week out from the horse show. It's also a week before no school.
I'm starting to think they got a bunch of different nannies because these kids just be pulling pranks all day. Because why would they just do that to you? And clearly the mom knew that the monkey was not supposed to go. So is this all just a big joke to them? Like, I get when you're so rich that, I mean, I don't get it. Why rich people, just think the less fortunate and not as, fortunate can just be treated like this. We are all human beings. But now I see more and more why they had you sign the NDA.
I'm trying to figure out, is it like legally just expired, or did they put an expiration date on the NDA? I don't really know much about like the structure of an NDA. Like, I never had one for myself, like created one for myself, so I don't know. Like, does it just expire after a while? Anybody ever made an NDA out there, or ever been a part of NDA? What causes it to expire? I know I can Google it, but I ain't got, just dropping it. I'm gonna probably figure out the conversation. Still drop it. I might forget to look it up, but damn. Let me know what y'all think about that. I always thought that NDAs last forever.
So it's essentially almost summertime. At this point, I was taking the kids to school. And then in the afternoons, I would pretty much just like kind of swim with the 7-year-olds. They had like a really nice pool. I'd bring my bathing suits and I had actually a good time. One afternoon, I was swimming with Dustin, minding my own business, and she comes out and starts screaming at Greg, who was behind us a little ways away, cleaning the boat. I guess she thought, or maybe he was, like ogling me in my early 20s in my bathing suit, and she's like, Greg, stop looking at the nanny. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? And he doesn't really say anything, doesn't try to defend himself, and just quickly goes inside. I think you can kind of get the gist that she basically ran the show. Anyhow, let's flash forward to the horse show. Now, she definitely utilized me during the horse show, not so much for the kids, but more so like her own personal assistant. I kind of just followed her around the whole time. I think she thought that everyone at these horse shows loved her, but from what I could tell, how they looked at her, they didn't. She was, like I said, a character. And of course she brought the monkey. He would just like sit up on her shoulder. She had her long blonde hair and she'd just walk around and just kind of like sex appeal to everyone in her vicinity. Now, it's important to note that Greg did not come to the horse shows. She had her 2 younger boys show the horses. They were in like the big paint world and it was Western, and honestly, her 2 sons literally seemed like they could care less, but regardless, they put on the outfits, they did all of that. I helped them get dressed, all the things, but their attitude was like they were so not into it. You could tell this was definitely her thing that she was kind of like forcing upon them. They brought one of those huge buses to these horse shows. It was so nice, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was basically where they camped out, had all their stuff. They did stay in the bus. But long story short, winding down on the end of the first day, the boys were done. She kind of sent them off with their older son to go get food. And she brought me back into the bus to, I have no idea what. I get in the bus and she's like, quick, help me get changed. And she's running around the bus, all of a sudden throwing all these outfits at me, asking me to basically help her get dressed. I'm like, what is going on? She's just like, I want your opinion. I just have to look good. And she's like, he's coming. She's like, look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. They're turning green. I'm getting so excited. My eyes always turn green when I get so excited. And I was like, who's coming? And she's like, oh, you need to get on board, but you are working for me. Just remember that. You do not work for Greg, you work for me, and you're about to meet my boyfriend. My story of when I was a nanny NDA now expired. So it was really right after she said, you're about to meet my boyfriend, that a knock was on the bus door. And she looked at me and she was like, that's him. And she's like, can you just go get the door and I'll just be back here changing. So
I think I understand now why she ran through 8 nannies. She had to fire them, or they was about to tell on her. Because either way, I feel like maybe she just you could tell she's comfortable now. Like, you could tell she's comfortable in that adulterous life that she's living at this point. If you're just willing to bring somebody else in there and be like, oh, I think that's unfair. And then NDA don't work within that house. You could tell the husband what happened.
But that's the one signing the checks. The woman is the one signing. She let her know from the very beginning, you work for me.
Damn, that's manipulation.
I hire, I fire.
Nah, but who make the money though? But who
do?
You might write the check, but the husband, what he doing? Is he the one bringing in the cash?
She owns a company where she is decking out jets.
Man,
private jets, okay?
If somebody told me that and that was my wife at the time, my wife would be my ex-wife and that nanny will still be working for her. What do you mean? Like, You ain't the only one getting money, baby. And now the way she is acting like she the only one making all the money. I ain't gonna lie to you. This some I'm the breadwinner ass mentality because you too comfortable, and that means somebody's dependent. Because you can't be dependent on somebody playing like this so comfortably, at least.
And honestly, Greg probably doesn't even have a problem with her doing this. You know
what?
I'm saying that she's going away to these horse shows. They're old. They're older now. You know what I mean? Like he's just probably happy to have a house to himself, no kids, no wife, living his best luxurious life.
Why would she tell her that you work for me if he don't care?
Because you better not say nothing.
Right. But he don't care.
This is like one of those things when you have open relationships. It's like
this is not
everybody knows, but you don't know.
I do know.
I'm saying their relationship. You don't know.
Babe, you can read between the lines. If I'm telling you if I'm telling you work for me and know who you work for, I'm telling you better not say nothing. Who can you tell that I wouldn't want you to tell?
This is like when you're dating and you tell people, I don't care what my girl do unless I'm with her. Like, don't tell me nothing you see when I'm not with them.
Who has ever said that in life?
Famous
who has ever said that shit in a fucking life? Who has ever looked at somebody and said, I don't care what my girl does outside of this place. Don't tell me nothing.
It's mainly people that's doing them too. Because it's like that.
I would just not tell them anything if that was why the fuck would I specify that?
Don't run and tell me nothing.
Like, babe, come on now. You know damn well.
I'm saying these rich people, they live a different life.
I ain't never been rich, so I don't know that life.
But even on a lower income level, a lot of people that has these open relationships, they don't want to know what their partner is doing.
Why
like everybody's doing
I want to know what my partner is doing if he's the richest man in the world, or if she's the richest person in the world, or the brokest person in the world? When I want to know what she's doing.
Because even if you knew, you're still going to stay.
That's you. Why. That is not everybody, son. Nobody's about to stay when knowing that somebody got cheated. No, I'm not doing that.
I'm saying open relationships. Are open relationships called
cheating? This is not an open relationship.
But you don't know that.
You don't know that it is.
I'm just saying if it is.
You don't know that.
We don't know.
I know through reading through the lines. If it's an open relationship, why do I need to hide it from my person? That's common sense, though. It's like why am I telling you to know who you're working for if I don't want you to keep what you about to say, what you about to see to yourself, and you signed the NDA? The NDA was for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think the NDA was for? It's a part of the NDA. So it's like you got to read between the lines. If your partner knows that you're a cheater or it's an open relationship, then you don't got to remember who you're working for. It's okay. You good. My husband already knows that I'm out here being like, come on. Like, he already knows what I'm telling you to watch your mouth for. That's slick threatening her, telling her like, hey, I'll fire your ass if you tell what you see. Like, come on, read between the lines, babe. That's like telling somebody I'm gonna fire your ass if you say what you see. You gotta know manipulation, man. You see it, you easy to manipulate. You gotta love your ass, boy. Because boy, I would have your ass running in circles. You wouldn't even know.
I was like, yeah, okay. So I go open the door, and sure enough, there's like a middle-aged guy who did look younger than Greg and a bit more fit, standing there with a small bouquet of flowers. He looks at me, smiles, and he's like, oh, you must be the new nanny. She's been telling me all about you. And I was like, yep. And I just found out about you. But I didn't say that. I just awkwardly was like, yeah, she's just getting ready. You can like come up. And he comes right beside me and sits down at like the little breakfast nook, puts down the flowers, and she basically walks out. I keep almost saying her name, but okay. So she basically walks out, sees him. She was like looking at me going, oh my gosh, aren't these flowers so nice? And I was like, yeah, they're so nice. And let's call him Brian. So Brian says that she looks great, and I basically start feeling awkward as hell and make my exit. But they do whatever you think they're doing in there for a couple hours, and then she texts me later and she wants me to come and just like say goodnight to her or whatever. I mean, like I said, she was just basically paying me at this point to be her personal assistant / friend. So I go over to the bus, and she's smoking her long cigarettes and sitting there in like a robe. The boys, I guess at this point, are sleeping, and she starts whispering all about Brian. She says, I hope that you don't judge me, but me and Greg's relationship is basically over. He's a lowlife. He uses me for money. He used to have a good job, and once he saw all the income I was making off of the jet business, he basically just stopped working and does nothing all day.
Does that sound like an open relationship? I just want to let y'all know. Does that sound like an open relationship to y'all? Do that sound like an open relationship?
She's Greg's sugar mama.
Sounds like she's cheating. Sounds like she's cheating on her husband because it's basically over. Okay, just make sure we're on the same page, because sometimes I be acting like I don't know what I be talking about. But that's, take what you want with it. I don't over. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't over.
And I just kind of listened and nodded, shook my head, acted like I agreed with her. She just keeps going, saying that she met Brian when they were out at one of these horse shows. His daughter actually shows horses, and he actually works for the FBI, which was bizarre in and of itself. But also, she starts talking about how actually her business between her and I is not doing well, and Greg knows nothing about it. So she's trying to get close to Brian because apparently, from what she can tell, he has money, and she wants to kind of move onto him. Fourth husband material is what she's saying, and then maybe he can help save her business. I'm working on part 5. Story time of When I Was a Nanny, NDA Now Expired, part 5. So we're still at the horse show. It is day 2. Now that I know all about the boyfriend, he is hanging around, massaging her, around the kids too, which is honestly quite sad. So clearly this is something that she's super comfortable with around the boys. Today, the 12-year-old is showing one of the paint horses, and I am to help him get ready and then also kind of hang out with the horse. Now, side note, I'm a horse girly myself. I grew up riding. I absolutely love horses. I had horses for a while, all the things. So my heart went out to this one horse in particular. He was such a good boy, and you could just tell that this boy could care less about what they were doing. And long story short, I end up standing in the aisle with their horse for 3 hours. Now, I don't know what was taking so long. Even my ex was like walking around going like, you're still there. Like, why is nothing happening? But anyhow, I spent those 3 hours with this sweet horse, basically telling him, hey, if you don't want to do this anymore, if you don't want to be the horse that is default show horse for this family, you need to go out there and buck off this little boy. Now, I didn't want the boy to get hurt, but I just honestly was so sick of this family taking advantage, or essentially her taking advantage of not only people, but animals. I'm not lying when I say that this boy goes out to show finally after 3 hours and this paint horse starts bucking. He was so nervous because, mind you, he was supposed to be practicing for the show, and you know he did not practice because, again, his mom forced him to do this. But regardless, he did not fall off, but he completely gave up. She was so embarrassed. She ended up hopping on him and finishing the show for him, which, again, it's a class for kids. So it was completely ridiculous that she thought it was appropriate for her to finish showing their horse, but she was like trying to prove a point. Mind you, she was not a good rider, honestly. She thought she was, but she wasn't. But I couldn't believe, I'm sorry, I just had to add this part of the story, the fact that I talked this horse into becoming a bad horse. He definitely listened and he understood the assignment. But after that, basically we were winding down, putting everything up. Obviously, mostly me and my ex were putting everything up. I mean, that's why we were there, and we left. So it was essentially just like a 2-day show, and we get back to their house, and I finished out the day. I think I went back to cleaning and all that, but the next week was camp. It was now full-blown summer, and we were getting into more of like a normal summertime routine. About a week and a half after the show, we are falling into like a normal summer routine. I'm doing stuff with the boys. I honestly was having fun with them. They were sweet boys at the end of the day, and it really wasn't a direct reflection on their mom. I mean, we like went to the grocery store together. We went to like the park, you know, stuff that you do with kids over the summer. But on this particular day, she was off. I had no idea why. She was yelling at Greg. She was running around the house. She was saying she couldn't find a piece of paper. I have no idea what. And then all of a sudden, her attention goes towards me, and she looks at me and she says, "You are coming to work with me tomorrow at the Jet Place." And then we'll go and do a story time 6 on that. Story time of When I Was a Nanny, NDA Now Expired, part 6. So I get there early and load up in her car.
And this is exactly why you have to read your contract, because at this point, you done became her assistant, the watcher of the monkey, also a nanny, a cook, a cleaner, everything.
Liar.
And what's really blowing my mind is that this woman was doing this in front of her kids. But
Right, and if y'all think like, oh, he must know that she's cheating because the kids, 2 of them kids ain't even his, and the one that is his is 7. You can convince a 7-year-old that the man who massaging me is just a massage therapist. The other kids won't give a damn because it's not his father. Let's just be real. They gonna side with their mom. So anybody who got that in their mind, just go ahead and get out of there, because that's exactly what it's gonna be.
I mean, the way that the 7-year-old exposed her for being an 8th nanny.
Right, but then you know, mommy might be getting massages normally, you know, because they rich as hell. That's the you be talking about like that. Like, oh yeah, if she get massages all the time, how am I know she out here cheating? I'm just thinking it's another massage. My son said it's a massage man. She's always had a massage man, which is questionable. But hey,
we all know why Greg is in it. He's in it for the money. Clear as day.
And somebody gonna be in the comment section, well, maybe Greg's cheating. Oh, shut up. Maybe you're being cheated.
Greg was just looking at the nanny in the bathing suit. So
was he?
He did. He was. So
well, shit, my woman cheating, I'm cheating too. Shit, it is.
That's why I said it's giving open relationship. But hey, I don't know their relationship.
Nah, it ain't giving open
relationship. He's looking at the pool girl, and then she's looking at.
Nah, listen.
Greg was looking at the nanny. And
no proof in that though. No proof in that. She has no proof that Greg was looking. She saw, but she has no proof. She actually has words like being said to her. She's actually seeing. You can assume like, oh, he's just looking at another woman. Does that mean he's cheating? No. She actually has proof of her cheating. She was in there talking to her. She got it done. Flipped. I'm not. Nah, man. We're not playing fucking game. We're not about to sit here and be like, oh, we don't know for sure if he cheating. I'm not even trying to be on his side, but it's like if we know for sure they cheating, then we go in on that. We're not going in on something we assume because she saw. The hell, like his wife is really getting flipped. If he was cheating, she would have said it. She would have known something, right? I would have seen more than just him standing at the pool lady. I don't blame him. If my woman out here, if a woman's cheating on you and she's not into you, fellas already know. Women just think we don't. Their body's going to respond to us first. So when your woman don't want to be around you, don't want to touch you, don't acting all weird in her body, even if she is giving into you, can still tell the difference. And if you don't, that's just pray. Maybe you need a little wisdom in your life. That's all I can ask you, but that's all I can tell you. But at the end of the day, we don't know that he's cheating. He could be just being a man. Why we can't give him that tag? Since she's just open relationship. What the hell? Oh, she's in an open relationship, but he's a cheater. Nah, ain't no too open. Nah, that's fuck all that. We ain't doing all that, man. If you agree with that, I don't give a damn. I don't have to deal with you personally. Whoever got to deal with you personally.
Willing participant.
Willing participant. But if it was such an open relationship, it's nothing needed to be hiding. Why are we hiding it? That's what I'm thinking. All that what you think you know. Like, I'm wondering the facts. Why are you hiding? Why are you sleeping with another man? She's seen you do it. She was there coddling you after you do it with your cigarette. Y'all forgot that? I hope you didn't forget that. I hope you didn't skip past that. Because that is proof that she's cheating. It's only assumptions that he could be. Like, come on now. Hell nah, Greg. I hope you see this, Greg. Greg.
Drove this ridiculous pickup truck. I don't remember all the details, but it was pretty King Ranch edition, all the things. And we proceed to the private airport where her business is located. Now, reminder, her business is basically they remodel the interiors of private jets. And she was very proud of all of the work that they apparently did. So when we get there, it's basically a public private airport, and her office is in one of the hangars. So you have to kind of drive through the airport, and you see there's a bunch of, all different size private jets. And we get to this one hangar. It was really nothing to look at, nothing like super fancy looking. And there was just like a small sign that said the name of her business and like one car. So we get out, we go up these stairs, and it's like this really old looking office. And there was a woman that worked there. She was like an older lady, I guess like her secretary or what have you. But as far as I could see, there was not anything else going on. Like, it was essentially an empty hangar. There was one jet that was there that looked kind of like their showcase piece, because it did have like a part of the side removed, and you could see like the interior of what I guess they do to the private jets. I mean, it looked okay. I know what you're thinking, and you're wondering, like, why is she taking me to work with her that day? And I'm getting to it right now. So she looks at me and she's like, okay, I have someone really important coming today. Remember I told you the business isn't doing very well? Well, CJ's coming, and I just want you kind of to be in the background. I'm going to go over a bunch of like business things, but I just want you to kind of look like another employee. Like, as you can see, I kind of like had a change of employees lately, meaning like, I don't know, they all quit. I have no idea what, but she was just like, basically pretend that you work for me and try to kind of like not get into our business anything. But he is like a prince. He's from Saudi Arabia, and he has all this money, and I think he can actually save the business. I'm just like, what in the world have I gotten myself into? Sure enough, a black limo, no joke, rolls up, and she's just like, okay, and she's like all looking nervous and everything. And yes, someone that looked not from this country comes out of the back door, and he walks up to her, says her name, they shake hands, he looks at me, she looks at me, and they kind of just like walk on past, and then they proceed to go into her office and close the door. Again, I have no idea why I was there, but I'm witnessing all this. And I actually end up just going to sit in her truck because there was really nowhere to sit in her office area, and I just like play on my phone. Finally, they come out, and she's visibly upset. He kind of looks like whatever, like no crap's given, and gets back into his like limo, and his driver takes him away. She gets into the truck, doesn't really say much, and she's like, we're going home. And I just go, okay. On the drive home, she's basically explained to me that she really thinks she's not going to be able to save the business. She's mostly complaining about Greg, saying he's such a lowlife. He's, sucking her dry, and it's all on her, and she can't handle the pressure, and she's sorry that I'm there to witness all of this. But yeah, clearly it did not go well with her trying to get money from this investor. We get back to her house and she sends me off to go get her more cigarettes, of course, because she's stressed. She's not happy about how her money situation's going. Something I will add, this woman made her remind me to pay me every single week. She was supposed to pay me every week. I had to remind her. It was so frustrating. And especially this week. I remember this week, I don't even think she paid me. I had to wait another week. She had some excuse oh, I need to move some things around or what have you. So clearly money issues were aplenty. She also then moved on to hitting on my ex. She went to the barn that day, and when I got home, he started complaining about how she was basically coming on to him. It was so insane. I'm gonna have to do a part 7. Sorry. My time as a nanny, NDA now expired, part 7. So I get home that day, and my ex is fuming. She fully came on to him. Obviously, she's not after his money because he did not have money, but she clearly thought he was attractive, and I guess she thought that he wouldn't care that he was with me and he would just go and sleep with her. And yeah, he was not into it. He basically told her to F off, and he told me that we really needed to quit working for them, that it was super toxic. I was not handling things well. There was just drama every single day. She, was having issues with paying me, all the things. But I don't know why. I don't know what was going through my head, but I just wasn't ready to quit. So long story short, I go back the next day. I don't really remember at the time what he did. I think he continued to work or he quit. This was over 10 years ago. So some parts of this I'm having a little bit of fuzzy memory on. But anyhow, I go back there the next day and I definitely remember this part. She was in the kitchen. She had all these ingredients on the countertop and she's basically saying out loud that she's making her famous chicken salad. She's not a cook, but this is what she's good at. And she was making a huge batch and I had to try it when she was done making it. So that day was super typical nanny day, working for them, doing their laundry, trying to change the monkey's diaper, which honestly, I never got good at changing that monkey's diaper. I was of no help with that monkey. He was crazy and used to try to bite me and scare the crap out of me. So I gave up very easily. The next day, I show up and tensions are abound. You could just feel that something is up. And she calls me into the kitchen, and when I get into there are all of the kids, including her older daughter, that are standing in the kitchen, lined up, and she's basically berating all of us. She is livid. She's saying, someone threw away my famous chicken salad, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it right now. So she asks us all one by one who threw away the chicken salad. And everyone says, no, not me, no, not me. And then she comes to me and she's like, no, I know it was you, Gabrielle. You had to have thrown away the chicken salad. I do not know why, but just admit to me that you threw away the chicken salad. And I'm looking at her no, I did not throw away the chicken salad. You guys, I did not throw away the chicken salad. You can believe me, I did not throw it away. And she's just livid, screaming at this point. I had to have thrown away. It had to have been me. That was my breaking point. If you want to know, the chicken salad was my breaking point. I said, you know what? I don't need this. And I left and I quit. And that evening when me and my ex are packing up our stuff to leave, because we did actually live on the property of her horse ranch, she called and she said, my daughter admitted that it was her that threw away the chicken salad, so you can just come back to work. I'm sorry. And I was like, no, ma'am, I'm done. That was my breaking point. I am done. And we were done. We left, and that was my time. That was my time working for her. And I know that more and more is coming out now. And I've been getting people reaching out that actually know this person, and it's crazy what she's up to. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore because it's crazy. What I'm telling you is tip of the iceberg, okay? Tip of the iceberg.
And she draws the line at the chicken salad. That chicken salad must have been disgusting for the oldest child to have thrown it away. And this was, what'd she say, her oldest daughter was 19 or 21 or something like that? But for her to throw away her mother's famous chicken salad, that must have been disgusting. And I don't blame her. Have you ever been forced to eat something nasty? And somebody else could take the fall for it? I'm pretty sure you would do the same thing.
So she's just currently just still in this phase of cheating, huh? Nobody knows nothing.
Coming on to her man was diabolical.
That's where she drew the line, though. She drew the line at the chicken salad, not to that part, though. It was just the chicken salad is more valuable than. Let me shut up. That's it. I ain't got shit to say.
A cheater's gonna cheat.
She drew the line at the chicken salad, not at the. Okay. All right. Cool.
Have you guys ever worked for someone and experienced something like this? I've never nannied myself, but I would love to hear the crazy stories you have to tell about the people that you nannied for. So drop a comment down below. You can also find this creator down below as well. And I want you guys to submit your guys' stories. If you have a story you want to tell, you can go to messystories.com/submit. You can type a story, you can type it out, or you can make a video and we'll review it on our podcast as well. Sorry.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Bay usually does the outro.
No,
but,
no, okay, you're doing good.
Also,
You're doing great.
if you made it
I'm
this,
over it.
Also, if you made it this far, please like, subscribe, and just show some love. We wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you guys for viewing, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.